be collected a little later in the service. I'm drawing this out now so that you have time to think about what would you like to ask me? What would you like to ask a minister if you could and you didn't have to worry about the consequences? That's not the right way to put it. But this is a chance to say, what do you think happens when we die? Or why do we light a chalice at the start of the service? Or, I mean, please feel free to ask questions about like my tattoos or whatever. I'm not answering, I cannot possibly answer every question, obviously today. I do keep them all. It is a spiritual practice for me to look at what you all want to know. I might reflect on some of them in future newsletter columns and things like that. But later in the service, but not a ton later, we will come collect those from you. So I would suggest you write it on the thing. Please try to write it in a way that I can read it, because legibility has been a problem when I've done these in the past. Fold it in half one time, and then the ushers will collect them. We only have one box for them to go in, so they might be collecting them in a basket or asking you to pass them to the end of the aisle. So if it's folded, then you get to keep your question a secret until and if I answer it. So that's question box in a nutshell. There'll be a little bit more about it later. And now, we can progress with the opening words this morning. And sometimes, to peek behind the curtain, sometimes I know exactly what poem or reading I want. Sometimes I know exactly what I want to say, but I was curious. So I Googled curiosity poems. And I got a poem called Curious by Bruce Bennett, and I really liked it. So here it is. Curious. A poem found a man weeding in the garden. "What are you doing here?" demanded the poem. "You're supposed to be at work." "I am at work," the man replied, wiping his forehead and squatting back on his hams. "Just look at that big pile of weeds." "I see," sulked the poem. "But I mean, at your desk." "I've been at my desk every day for the last month," the man exploded. "Where were you then? I've bitten through about 36 pencils." "Oh, I was busy elsewhere," murmured the poem. The man merely glared. "Honest, it couldn't be helped." The poem looked down and scuffed one toe in the dirt. "Yeah? Well then, what are you doing here now?" I got curious," cooed the poem as it sidled nearer. "I got curious, that's all." We'll now invite Kay to light our chalice. We join with Unitarian Universalist churches, congregations, and communities across the nation and the world in lighting the flaming chalice of our faith this morning, as it stands both as a beacon to those who seek a path and a warmth for the heart of community. And the light we now kindle, inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of love.
I'm standing up today. My name is Jessie, and I use they, them pronouns. And today is one of my favorite days of the year. In case you didn't know, today we are blessing backpacks. For those of you who might know, what has already started for some of us and what starts this week for some others? Anybody know? School was always my favorite thing. It probably doesn't surprise you, those of you who know how much I love to read, how much I love to write, and how much I love to discover. School came with a lot of things. I was not the most popular person in school because I spent most of my time sitting by the side reading my books, my chapter books. They were a really big thing for me. I would carry a book to school almost every day just in case I got done with work early and I could read instead. Didn't have a whole lot of friends, but the friends that I did have were true and steadfast friends. And every time I went to church, I brought the same book with me. And there was this old man. He had to have been at least 50, who would ask me about my book every Sunday. He would come and sit beside me, and he would say, "Tell me about that book you're reading." Oh, I would tell him all about the dragons and the fairies, and I loved fantasy books, of course. And I would tell him about the history characters I was reading, because I got to pick my biographies in school. And I would tell him everything about the book that I was reading. And then one day I got curious, and I said, "Why do you always ask me about my book?" And he said, "Because the letters are too small for me to read anymore. And when you tell the story, I like it even better." And he was so curious about what I saw in that book. Now I get to be the old person who asks you what you're reading. What books are you listening to? What did you watch the other day? Did you see that episode of Sesame Street where Cookie Monster learned about Medusa? If you didn't, Medusa is a cow who has snakes on her head. It's really fabulous. I love it a lot. I get to stay curious. Now, I have a question. Is anyone in this room curious about anything? Oh, there's lots of hands. Okay, I'm going to ask you. Melissa, what are you curious about?
Is there life on Mars?
Is there life? That's a really good curiosity. I can't answer that question. We're going to have to research, aren't we? Alicia, what are you curious about?
What's in the abyssal zone of the ocean?
Again, that's going to take some research. I can't answer these questions. What are you curious about, Anakin?
Can I achieve my dreams and hopes?
Oh, that's one that we're going to have to wait for, isn't it? I think you can. Is there anyone back here who's curious about anything? I'm going to ask you to come this way, because sometimes when I take this there, we can't hear you. Anybody want to volunteer a piece of curiosity back here? Y'all are just curious about what's happening in here, I think. Well, this morning, we are going to bless every backpack, every work bag, everything that's going to school or that may accompany you to learning. If you have a library bag, we can bless it. If you just have a bulletin board at home where you put up your schoolwork, we can bless it. We have here some buttons that say, "Stay curious." That's our blessing for everyone this year. Stay curious. Ask those questions. Ask about life on Mars. We might not be able to answer it, but isn't it so much fun to learn and find out if there is anything in the abyssal, of the ocean? Zone. It's a zone. The abyssal zone of the ocean. Everyone after the service, especially those who carry backpacks and work bags and go to school, can pick up one of these buttons, these Stay Curious buttons. The cool thing is they have a sharp thing on the back that can go on a backpack. It can go on a bulletin board. And now you know there's a sharp thing on the back. Inside your order of service, we have our blessing. On the back is a coloring page, but we're going to read this together. If you feel so moved, you can stretch your hand out to these buttons so that we can send this blessing outside of this building with these buttons. You guys will read the bold part with me. Today, we gather to celebrate the start of a new school year full of possibilities and growth. We open our hearts to the adventures that await us. As we enter new classrooms and meet new faces, let us embrace the changes ahead with a sense of wonder and amazement. We welcome the challenges and joys that come with learning. May we support one another as we reach for our goals, share our ideas, and grow together. We are here to encourage and uplift each other. Let us remember that mistakes are simply steps toward understanding. After all, the more we learn, the brighter our future becomes. Here's to a year filled with growth, exploration, and endless possibilities. And don't forget, after the service, you can come up by the storytelling chair and grab your button.
Come,
Oh, yes.
come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Reach out, touch what was once just in your imagination. Don't be shy, it's alright if you feel a little trepidation. Sometimes these things don't need explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look at them and view it. Somebody to hold on to, it's all we really need. Nothing else to it. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Hey! Yes, so Kevin reached out to us to say, hey, I'm around on the 17th. Can I do something? And we were like, yeah. Sure. What's the theme? Is it really deeply intellectual? I know you can do it. This is beautiful. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your gifts again. Thank you. So now, that was our reading today, was pure imagination. So now is the time where I'm going to ask the ushers to begin to come around. So this is your ticking clock. If you would like to ask a question and you haven't written on that little slip yet, please do so now. The ushers are going to come around to begin collecting them. Well, I give you a little introduction. We're a seeking kind of faith. Unitarian Universalism holds to its questions very dearly. The tradition of the question box service goes back, honestly, I don't know. I tried to research this the first time I ever did one of these services, and you mostly just get Google results for churches talking about their minister doing a question box service. So I'm not really sure where it came from. Came from ministers coming back from summer break and not wanting to write sermons, is where it came from, in part. But the act of asking questions, being questioners, being seekers, goes all the way back to Origen and Michael Servetus, some of the original thinkers who wrote or spoke in Christian spaces challenging the doctrine of the Trinity or the very idea of damnation. Our history is full of people who dared to ask, why do we believe this? It's been said that the two biggest questions in life are what happens when we die, and knowing that, or not knowing that, how shall we live? So, I don't know what questions we're going to have here today, and if those two show up, well, we'll see if I have managed to figure them out. I have not. So I will not be able to answer all of these questions. We do have a certain time limit. I reserve the right not to answer ones I deem too personal or perhaps entirely off base. I will read every question, not this morning in front of you, but I will take them with me and I may use them for future reflections, maybe even share some of them with you in upcoming newsletter columns or other spaces where I am reflecting. Because these are a very rich trove of your concerns, your ideas, what is something, even if it's just something you've never really understood, why we light a chalice and you're like, I don't know, I kind of feel dorky asking that, but now's your chance. How are we? We have a lot of folks here today because welcome to Voices of Faith. Our interfaith group is here joining us, so welcome to you. And of course, as anyone, we have it in the announcements, if anybody wants to stay after for the little presentation I'm doing for them, you are welcome. So I'm going to get to answer a lot of questions today, in theory. I do know that Bonnie and Jesse collected some questions from the kids last week. I hope I get at least one of them. Just a little bird might have told me what one of them was, so maybe I'll just make sure I answer that one. I'm just saying. I'm writing it down right now. What? They're not folded. The kid ones are not folded. So if you want your question to get a lot of extra attention, I guess don't fold. Are we almost complete? Is that it? Anyone else who hasn't had a chance to put in a slip? Quiet. We've got a couple people. You can pass them to the edges or make sure that they're, and our Sunday singers, did you get a chance? Okay. Okay, did you get a chance? Okay. Awesome. That's all my intro, so now we get to it. Going once, going twice. Bring it to me. Oh, do you have one? No. Oh, okay. So it's in there. Okay. Behold, the question box, which, Jesse, this was already made for an OWL thing, for an OWL question. So in our Whole Lives curricula, there's also a chance for kids to ask questions they might be a little embarrassed to answer in front of everybody. So that's where this beautiful thing comes from. And I'm going to put it down flat and take the back off. Oh. Oh, my. Oh. Hard, easy is on back. So there's two questions on this. At first I was like, oh, this is a kid one, because it's not folded. Now, so, okay. So the hard question is, what fills you up and or keeps you from being sucked down the drain of fear and despair at the chaos surrounding / destroying our liberal ideals when your congregants need your hope, your strength? I'm not trying to be, I'm literally trying to see. Sometimes I have to just stick stuff in my nose if my reading part of my progressives isn't working. That's a good one to start with, because isn't that the question we're all thinking about? What keeps me filled up or keeps me from being sucked down the drain of fear and despair at the chaos surrounding and destroying our liberal ideas when your congregants need your hope and your strength? I hope that we understand that we can all rely on each other's hope, on our hope and strength, even when we are feeling that despair. I feel despair. I absolutely feel despair. I will answer this with a short reflection from my time. So one of the answers is that bless you all for allowing and for understanding that ministers need some collective time off in the summer. I need to read more books. I need to rest. I need to find a way and re-examine my own spiritual practices, the things that allow me to tap into hope and strength and get out of spirals of fear and despair. There was a certain day during the month of July after a particularly large piece of legislation passed where I was absolutely spiraling, absolutely feeling a lot of despair, hopelessness, frustration, rage. And what I did was I looked at a Facebook post. I don't recommend social media, to be very clear. I remembered a book that a friend of mine had praised. And I thought of a new friend that I had just met the month before who has a child. Their entire family left Unitarian Universalism because their older child, who is non-binary, they decided they wanted to convert to Judaism. And this book that my friend shared had a non-binary Jewish protagonist. I can't remember the title. I promise if you email me about it later, I can look it up for you. I don't remember it right now. And I said, thank you, friend. And I turned around to new friend. Old friend told me about book. I thought of new friend. I sent to new friend message about this book that might appeal to my new friend's older child. And he wrote back, tomorrow is their birthday. This is perfect. And then I sent a message to my friend who originally posted about the book, who is also a Unitarian Universalist minister, who is also a non-binary person who of Jewish descent. And I said to them, this is what happened. This is the circle that I was allowed and blessed to complete. I do not know if that young person in New Braunfels, Texas, will ever read that book, but they might, and it might be amazing for them. And so those relationships and that open-heartedness to, even on the day that feels like the worst day, connect to your people. I connected to mine, and eventually I got out of that spiral. I'll save the easy one for later. Okay, let's see here. Oh. Is growing up a miracle? Yes. I mean, the history answer is that we are, that we as humans have done enough and increased our public health enough to allow more and more people the gift and the miracle of growing to a ripe old age. We also know that disturbing public policy decisions are trending that in the other direction, but the short answer is absolutely yes, it is. For whatever up means, right? There are so many good questions, and I don't know that they're good. I can tell through my fingers that they're good. Here's a folded one. Oh. Why do you think we cannot solve homelessness? Because there's not the will to do it. Because the forces that are the forces that we have allowed to become responsible for solving problems in our society are ones that are based on the market. And it's not a winning proposition in the short term. Because we've seen time and again that giving housing to unhoused people helps. There is not one cure everything solution. I think we can't solve it because we don't truly have the will to. I think if the will truly existed for us to actually center the problems of people and the ways that we, as the wealthiest nation in the world, could solve them, I think we could do a lot of good. And I think we change hearts and minds one person at a time. But we can't solve it because there's not the will to. There's not the public will. Okay. this is great. I'm like, oh, I literally haven't actually ever gotten this one before. What do you members believe regarding what happens after death? All kinds of things. That's one of the beautiful things about Unitarian Universalism, is that we provide a space for spiritual exploration. My own idea, I was raised Catholic, just as a baseline. My own idea about what happens after we die has changed extravagantly across my life, right? I believed in heaven and hell and damnation and salvation and all that stuff when I was little, and then I was a hard atheist when I was running away for a long time, and I didn't believe anything happened, and we became nutrients for the soil, and now I'm somewhere in, I believe hell is here. So tiny history lesson before we get to the actual Voices of Faith presentation, which is our Universalist Christian roots arose directly in response to Calvinism, which basically said, you're kind of screwed no matter what, right? Like that only certain people were the elect, and you didn't know, and you couldn't change it, but you should live a good, humble life because you should. I never really understood Calvinism on a deep level, but that the Universalists, the first Universalists, said, what loving God would send anyone to hell? We don't actually believe in that God. We believe the work of suffering is here, for instance, and why we can't solve homelessness. And not enough people are growing up, right? Like that we have the collective will to try to, as my beloveds in the UUCF, the UU Christian Fellowship, which is a nationwide organization. If you're interested, let me know. We can get you connected. They have t-shirts that say, love the hell out of this world. So UU members don't have any requirements on what you should believe happens after death, and we cover a hugely broad range. There's a lot that aren't folded, so narrowing down to a kid one is going to be... Oh, did I? Okay, brilliant. Okay, then I will do this one. Or I will see this one and see if I... Woof. Well, no softballs today. I'm going to go back to the other side of this one with the easy question in about 2 seconds. How do we love those who are defined by their hate? That's a hard one. Yeah, you're right, Sally. The first answer that came to my mind is by smug moral superiority, which is not a charitable answer, right? Like, we should have access to love for all beings in our hearts, right? Shouldn't we all, on an ideal day, have access to love for all beings? How many of us are having ideal days right now? Right. So whatever gets you there, right? Or if you really are struggling and you are not able to love those people, can you at least, so my how do we, this isn't directed to me, but one thing I do comes out of the Buddhist tradition, which is the metta meditation, which I know a lot of you know, the loving kindness meditation. We have a song about it, right? You begin by saying that I wish for myself happiness and well-being, right? I wish it for myself. And I try and really wish it for myself, because I think, to go back to Matthew, I also don't think we love we say, oh, love your neighbor as yourself. I think a lot of it is that we don't love ourselves. Like on a hold ourselves accountable kind of loving, not just like a looking in the mirror and doing a little, I'm great, meditation, but like really saying, I am flawed, I have this, and I still love me, which means other people who have flaws, I can still love them the way I love myself. And that meditation, you do yourself first, and then you think of somebody you really love that it's easy to think about wishing well, and then you think about somebody that you like, but not well. Like, oh, okay, I have no ill will towards the person who just was in front of me at the Kroger line, so I will just think about them. They're kind of a neutral party. And then the real skill test is then you start thinking about the people that seem to be defined by hatred. It is not easy to do. It will not always be something you can do. But like everything, it is, I love the phrase spiritual hygiene. Because we think about like, oh, okay, do you brush your teeth every day? I hope so, right? Or clean your plates if that's what you got, you know, right? Like, do you do those things for yourself? Do you take a multivitamin? Do you try and drink enough water, right? The more you do it, the easier it becomes to remember to do. The more you stretch that muscle of loving people, even the people that are being defined by hatred, the better you get at it. And I'll close on that one with, remember, you can love people and not like them. I mean, right? Okay, this is actually the what do you think happens when you die question again, so I'm not going to ask it in a second. What's this one? Okay, cool. I'm getting a little promo, little preview, Voices of Faith people, on what, how do you members perceive or describe God? Does God exist? Is it not known? A mystery? We just sang the song. That is a reason that I asked Carrie to do that one. Mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery, right? The answer to that one is what you got, right? Like, if you ask 10 UUs about the existence of God, you're going to get 17 different answers. And it is not a requirement, right? Like, I do think, now I will say that some people have the misconception that you can believe whatever you want and be UU. Well, we just read some things together about words of welcome, all who welcome all are welcome here, and that we are trying to move towards spiritual growth by respect and direct communication of one another. If you want to constantly come in, I mean, you know, all who welcome all. If you come in and you're like, I am a white Christian nationalist Nazi, and I would like to attend your church, and I'm going to be like, that is a problem. Because you are not someone who welcomes all. And you cannot in good faith participate in our covenant, right? If you come in and say nothing about your beliefs and you just sit quietly and listen, we can't do anything about it, right? I mean, so it's do anything about it. How we perceive or describe God, God is a broken word for a lot of people. I'll keep this, I could talk about this forever. God is a broken term for a lot of people. Remember that a lot of people were raised in churches, in religious traditions, in families whose interpretations of religious traditions were really harmful to them, to their identity, to their sense of self-worth. So my concept of God, I'm happy to talk about, but that's not what the question is. This is about UUs. So is God, is the idea of a God, maybe not a patriarchal God, maybe a God that is more like a sense of, like a Taoist sense that there is an energy beneath everything, right? Whatever, honestly, whatever works, right? Like, what is the abstraction that is larger than yourself, that gets you out of yourself, that makes you able to say, actually, yes, I do think we should be taking care of the homeless problem, and I do think that our decision makers in this country or in this city or in this world should be more focused on the well-being of other people rather than profits, right? Like, so whatever is the abstraction, everybody who comes here regularly is going to have heard this. Kurt Vonnegut, a famously Unitarian crotchety humanist, said that he puts his faith in that abstraction which is most accessible and understandable to him, which is his community. But you have to put your faith in something larger than yourself, whatever you call it. Okay, we're getting down to the last one or two here. I mean, that I can do right now. Well, I mean, what is your favorite mystery around human existence? I don't understand why we have toes. I just don't, I mean, what? I'm sorry, if this is your question, I am not making fun of you. I'm just like, my favorite mystery, I haven't even, like, that's exciting, and it's curiosity building, because I don't know. I don't know. Oh, this is going to sound silly, but I'll do another one. But no, for real, I thought about this recently. When I was a kid, when I was a child, and I learned how much we are moving, right? That we are on a planet that is rotating, but is also tilting, but is also rotating around a central body, but the central body is also rotating around the center of the universe. I got so dizzy. Like, I was like, I don't understand. I can't visualize things super well if you just describe them to me in words. So I had to look at one of those like models of the solar system, and I was like, they're like spin, and I was like, oh. So, I mean, a favorite mystery from childhood is we aren't getting dizzy. We feel like everything is still. Stillness is a thing that is accessible to us, even though we are all hurtling through space at like thousands of miles an hour. That's so cool. Right? Okay. Undo one more, and then I'm going to answer the easy one from that first card. And then we'll be done. Aw. What part of your job gives you the most joy, i.e. feeds your soul? This. I mean, honestly, the part that gives me the most joy is preaching, which is kind of like, oh yeah, you're just standing up there and talking. But this is why I also love this dialogue ability. Worship really feeds my soul. That's what got me into Unitarian Universalism, was this excitement that there could be a worship space that did not feel very rigid like the Catholic masses that I attended growing up. And I also just really love people. I don't always like them. Go back to the earlier question, right? But I love relationships, right? And talking to folks, and I do it imperfectly. We all do it imperfectly, but I guess there might be ministers out there who aren't really keen on people. But that, knowing all of you and getting to know people and randomly talking with people out in the community who might recognize me from something and I don't know them from Adam, and they're like, you're the UU minister, and I'm like, oh, sure, yes. And you are, but I love that. I love it. Okay, I wish I could answer every single one of these. I'm going to keep these ones that I did answer kind of off to the side, and then I will reseal the box. But the hard question that I answered first, what fills you up? What are you reading for fun? Is the easy one on the back. Currently, I am reading a book. I think it's by a localish author, Wildwood Magic, Willa Reese. I got it at Book No Further when Book No Further still existed. Sorry, Book No Further. And it's a like Appalachian, witchy, cozy, fun thing, like fantasy. I'm not that far into it. I do read a lot of horror to distract myself from the actual horrors of the world, I suppose. But I went to see, you didn't ask what I saw, but like last Monday on my day off, I went to see Weapons. It's a new movie. Dang, I had weird dreams after that, and I was like, I've read like 3 horror novels in a row, and I just watched this movie, and I think I need something a little bit nicer, a little bit non-horrific for a minute. But that's currently what I am reading for fun. Thank you, everyone, for your curiosity, questions, and the chance to engage them with you. I will now read our little, okay, these are the questions. These are the ones I answered. So, there is also a question box tradition of sharing this beloved quote from Rainer Maria Rilke's Letters to a Young Poet. So I'll close with these words. Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. Thank you for joining me on this adventure today, and thank you for your questions. We have reached that time in our service where we invite you into generosity each week. The work of the loving work of this congregation would not be possible without your time, your talent, and your treasure. So the ushers will now come around and with gratitude receive the offering.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sally Garber, and it's my honor to represent the Caring Committee this morning. I have one piece of information to share with you. Pamela Shook is bedridden with a rheumatoid arthritis flare. Her husband, Stephen Clifford, asked for healthy prayers. So please keep Pamela in your mind as you go through your week. If you would like to light a candle for joy or concern that you are holding in your heart, please come forward during the meditation and use both sides of the altar. Thank you.
bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I should have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life. I've looked at life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.
And our hearts be restored.
Thank you, Sally and Caring Committee, for your ministry to this in this way each week. Thank you to my angels who went and got more candles. It's a full house today, and we needed more, so thank you. Each week I try to select a thing to say an extra prayer for, and it is always overwhelming and challenging to do. This week, my prayer has to be for peace. There is always a prayer for peace in my heart, not only in Ukraine, not only in Gaza, but in Sudan, in Haiti, in every place in the world where there is strife, where there is conflict. Humans need to figure out a way to solve problems without killing one another. It seems like the most basic thing in the world, and we still haven't done it. So we keep praying. And as I do each week, I will light a candle for those of you watching online. Online people, I am sorry, I did not think of a way in time to have you submit questions for this. I will go back to the drawing board for next year because I love getting questions. So thank you for being here with us on YouTube. And now if you will join me for a moment of prayer and reflection, you may settle comfortably into your seats. What that means for you, maybe it means both feet on the floor, maybe it means hands at your side, maybe it means they're lightly clasped in your lap. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or soften your gaze. Spirit of life, our hearts are full of questions. Questions too tender to ask, even in a situation like this. Questions We ask again and again, knowing we're never probably going to get an answer. And I'll remind us also that our answers to our questions may change over time. That perhaps a way of being in the world or understanding the world around us no longer serves us. Perhaps we are struggling to find a way to fill our own cups, to reconnect, to get some kind of settle in the spirit despite the questions, because there will always be more questions. We are a seeking people. So bring peace to our hearts as we connect with that which is greater than ourselves, to understand how we proceed loving the questions themselves. So may it be.
And now, as we draw to the close of our end of our time together in worship this week, we turn our attention from within our own community and their joys and concerns, and we prepare to engage with the world in the week ahead. We'll begin with a few announcements. Today, we are very pleased to welcome guests from Roanoke's Voices of Faith, interfaith organization. Thank you. After the service, starting around 12:30 in the sanctuary, Rev. Jen will be giving a brief presentation on Unitarian Universalism and taking questions from the group. Anyone is welcome to stay. Next Sunday, August 24th, you are invited to join the climate justice team out on the corner immediately following the Sunday service for our monthly climate justice rally. We'll provide the signs. Also on Sunday, August 24th, the monthly open mic Roanoke Speaks will take place from 3 until 5 o'clock here in the sanctuary. Come prepared to share your talent for up to 5 minutes at this wonderful community event. And now I'd invite Leah up, who's a member of our board, to inform us about the board meeting that they just had.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone. Your board met on Tuesday, August 12th, and I'd like to bring you just a few of the highlights. We had a very in-depth meeting. We met first with the auction committee representatives. We wanted to hear, they were interested about what our plans are for the next service auction, which I'll remind you is going to be November 8th. Since the capital improvements have not yet been scheduled, we felt very comfortable giving our assurances that the building would be available and that the auction could proceed as a live auction as preferred. And stay tuned for more information in newsletters and email about donations and other preparations for the auction. Approval was given to establish a separate investment money market fund for capital campaign funds, and our VP of Finance, Sheila Bernhardt, who I think is somewhere here, and our capital campaign finance chair, Erica Joyner, will be co-signatories on that account. The board also approved a revision to the annual operating budget for 2025 and 26 based on a 6% pledge income shortfall, which was previously from what was previously projected. The revised budget of $357,951 required a 6% reduction to committee and staff funding funds, program funds, while maintaining 3% increases for fixed expenses to cover inflation. And if pledge income should increase, then of course we will talk about adjusting the budget accordingly. And last but not least, if you have any comments or questions, I'll be available in the fellowship hall after the service. And please remember that members of the church are always welcome to come to our board meetings, which are held the second Tuesday each month at 6:30 in the Olin Room. Our next meeting is September 9th, and if you have an item for consideration, please contact Gordon Malchevsky, the board president, in advance so he can put you on the agenda. I can tell you we live by our agenda, so thanks.
Thank you, Leah, and our hard-working board. That was really, got a lot done on that board meeting on Tuesday. So now I will invite Kay to extinguish our chalice. Much like at the beginning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations, churches, and communities around the nation and the world in extinguishing the flame of our chalice in person in the sanctuary, knowing that we continue to hold the flame of our faith within our hearts.
Our closing song is Wo Ya Ya. It's in your blue books, but if you don't have a blue book, it'll be on the screen. We often do this at the offertory, but I thought this would be a nice closing for this service. So please rise and sing with us. Your rattle. Okay. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, and we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows how we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. 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 Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Enter your weeks with open minds, open hearts, and open spirits, and remember that you can love people even if you don't like them. So may it be. Thank you. What? I can talk. That's the best job skill I have, is that I can talk about stuff.
I got
And
a
they're all
full-time
questions
church
that I've
job, yes.
answered in one form or
I can't
another.
tell you yet
I mean,
'cause
that's
they
why I
don't
laughed
know.
at the one about what is your
Yes.
favorite mystery of human
They
existence.
will find
I'm like,
out Monday.
Oh no, I've never
but
thought about that
they-
before. So thank you.
Their choir will be very glad because I already know a lot of them. Yeah.
It's a wild movie. I mean, it was a really good movie, but I had weird dreams after that movie because some of the imagery and stuff was like, wow.
Come with me,
Thanks, Sheila.
and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Reach out, touch what was once just in your imagination. Don't be shy, it's alright if you feel a little trepidation. Sometimes these things don't need explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look at them and view it. Somebody to hold on to, it's all we really need. nothing else to it. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in